Here we have the Traktor X1 Mk3. You see, this is actually the third version of this style of controller from Native Instruments, and it came out over a year ago at the time of recording this. However, it came out pretty randomly. This product just dropped after Native Instruments haven't really touched the Traktor brand significantly in nearly 10 years. So it was a bit of a random product, but since then we've had Traktor Pro 4 release, and even more recently we've had the Traktor Z1 Mk2 release. So it shows that Native Instruments are really putting some effort into their Traktor ecosystem and DJ brand, which is awesome. Now in this video, I'm going to walk you through what the X1 Mk3 is all about, so you can maybe make a decision if this is the right product for you to purchase, or pick up some new tips and tricks if you're sat with this on your desk right now. Let's get stuck in. So first of all, if we take a look at the rear of the unit, you can see that it's just USB bus powered. However, there are some extra USB ports which are awesome because this is designed as a modular controller. You can use it fully by itself, which you're about to discover in this review, but if you take a look, these USB ports mean that you can plug other modular units like the Z1 that I mentioned directly into it. But if you do that, you'll need to power it with the DC power that comes in the box. So that's literally all it is on here. The output is coming from your laptop. There are no headphone inputs or anything on here. It's simply that as your output controls and connectivity on the unit. It's also awesome to see the back of this unit, so you get this see-through, really nice case, and it gives some, it's really aesthetically pleasing, but it also gives some feedback as well. So if we were playing a song and we've got a loop active, you can see that it lights up green. Or if we're playing a song and I just skip towards the end, you'll see it starts to flash red to give you a warning that you're getting towards the end of the song. And obviously with this down on the table, you'll see it start flashing out the side and give that indicator. So just really nice, interesting aesthetic design, wanted to cover first of all. Now at the time of recording this thing ships with Traktor Pro 4 out of the box and connects with that software. Now let's have a quick run through and walk through of all of its features. Starting at the bottom, we have our typical transport controls. We can play the songs. We can sync tracks together using the sync buttons here. There is some extra lighting information on the bottom if the sync's not quite right. It tries to detect that and give you the information there. Let's just stop them. We also have the cue to go back or set up a new cue point, so we can go back to the start on both tracks. We've got the reverse function, so if a song's playing, we can hold this down and it will reverse it. Above, we've got the nudge buttons because this is not conventional in the way that a lot of DJ controllers have jog wheels, physical platters that you move. This doesn't. This relies on things being synced together or manually nudging with these buttons here. So holding this down makes it a bit faster or a bit slower if you were to manually beat match the tracks together. But it relies a lot on sync, so you'd want to make sure that your beat grids are correct for that instance. We've also got cue points here. Up to 4. You can delete them by holding shift. You can also save loops into this bank as well. To set the loops, it's these encoders here, and you'll see on the screen we've got these nice displays. You can go down from a 30-second of a beat right up to 32 beats, and we just click it in to activate the loop. We can tighten it with the encoder, and you can click it again to deactivate. If we hold shift, we can then move and beat jump through the song at the determined value that was set when it was on loop. So if we were on 32 beats, if I hold shift, I can now jump through the track 32 beats at a time. And if a loop is set, it will move the loop 32 beats at a time. So you can pick out different sections of the song to potentially mix. The encoders above are your browse controls, so you can scroll up and down your library. If we hold shift, you can scroll up and down your playlists, and you just simply click it in to load a song. So if we were to click it in, it then loads the song in just like that. Above this, we have the effects and mixing controls, and this is done via a toggle switch. So currently we're on the effects mode, and we have effects 1 and effects 2. Here, this maps out on the software to this section at the top here with the different effects, and then also the opposite section here, so FX1 and FX2. Now the top of the unit acts as an effect bank and a mixer mode. So this button here just toggles between mixer and effects. Now it's the same buttons and knobs that control each. So something to bear in mind is when you switch between the two modes, you may have to, let me go back and move this, there's a soft release. So when I go to move this again, it then has a little icon. If I move some of these, to display here to say move this control up to 50% to then re-engage. Again with this, move up to 44 to re-engage. Same here, move down to 0 to re-engage. And if I switch back, you'll see the high, it's saying move it down to -89 to then re-engage. So that's something to be aware of first of all, is you have to kind of re-engage those parts. When in mixer mode, this bottom control is your volume. So we can just play a song. We can fade it in, fade it back out again. We've then got the low, the mid and the high EQ controls. It's the same on the opposite side. And again, you might need to use that soft release just to activate them. We've also got the kill switches for the various parts. And you could just kill the high and the mid EQs and drop them back in. Then if we were to switch back over to the effects mode, there's a lot going on here. First of all, we need to decide what we're assigning the effects to. So if I just pause that a moment, these two arrows mean that we're going to assign effects bank 1 or effects bank 2 to the left-hand deck. So if I were to do this, you'll see it lights up 1 on the screen, and that means that this part of the software is now affecting this deck. So I can activate any of these 3 effects here. And once I, again, soft release some of these, if I were to play it, I can control the master, dry and wet with the top one, activate the effect on and off, and turn the individual levels up and down of those different effects. Now, you can choose to hold shift, and if we press this top button, we can switch to just a single effect with various different parameters within that one effect that we can then experiment with, and then turn the overall effect on here. So we've got way more control over that individual delay effect. It shows up all the parameters on the screen, which is really nice as you touch the different knobs and buttons. Which is just really cool. You could also assign effects number 2, and at this moment in time, on the right hand side, this number 2, this is now a pattern player, and we can trigger these different patterns to play with the song. So we could launch it with the top one. You can hear the different drums here, and there's loads of different kits, again holding shift. We can go through the different kits with that second button, and we can just trigger them off. And then do different patterns. Now, the real powerful thing about the pattern player is you can layer in different drums, and if you have something like the Z1, which we will cover in a separate review, then you can toggle the different stems on and off. So you could just take the drums away, for example, and then re-add some drums from the pattern player in to your music there. Each deck has its individual left and right assign. So on deck 2 here, we could assign FX number 1 or FX number 2. And like I said, we can toggle through what is in that bank, whether it's the pattern player, the 3 effects, or the single effect with the different parameters. You can choose to have different things loaded there and then trigger them on different decks at any time. Everything's really intuitive once you've figured out what those different layers are, especially at the top. The screens and displays are all really nice, and again, just populate to the information that you want and need as you start touching the unit. We've got the time elapsed and time remaining on the displays here, and then the different loop lengths that pop up. So just really useful. If you want to dive deeper, you can go in the settings of Traktor by clicking this gear icon and go down to the X1 Mk3 main and X1 Mk3 colors, and you'll see in here that there are loads of different options. So you can change how this device operates, even just within the preferences of Traktor. So you can dive deep and really set it up for your personal preference. If you go into the colors, for example, you can change how the bottom LEDs respond. You can change transport button colors. So all of these down here, you can change the number button colors. So you can really make it stand out and color code it the way you want. It's highly adaptable. And Traktor in itself is highly MIDI mappable as well. So if I hold shift and press this button, we're in full MIDI mode now, and you can use this as a standard MIDI controller, or you can even just remap any of the functions on this device bit more advanced, but anything that is within Traktor is MIDI mappable and you can apply it to this unit. Or you could look at expanding some of those feature sets by introducing some more of the modular setups, such as the Z1 from Traktor as well. So ultimately, simple but powerful. As you can see, it does a lot. It takes control of a lot of the functionality of the Traktor DJ software. And who is this really for? Well, it really is one of those parts of a modular DJ setup. You could just buy this standalone and happily DJ and mix with it, but you start to lose some of those essential mixing, the mixer mode in it can get a bit lost if you're wanting to apply effects and fade songs in and out and blend parts of tracks in and out. You start to bounce back and forth between that top layer of these buttons and these knobs. And with that soft release, to have to reset the knobs, it can be a bit frustrating. Hence why I've kept mentioning this Z1 Mark II, because this is ultimately the mixer to go along with this unit, so you don't have to keep switching that top layer mode over. Now it comes in at a really good, reasonable price, $300 roughly, and £259 I think here in the UK. This is a very reasonably priced product because, like I said, you can just use it standalone, but it fits in amongst many other setups as well. You'll see it at the heart of a lot of hybrid live electronic DJs and artists setup, because it's one of those things that really controls the effects really well in Traktor and allows you to just get your tracks playing and sync them up in time. Because of the ecosystem of Native Instruments, if you're drawn to the idea of these hybrid setups, maybe eventually using the machine and doing some finger drumming live and synchronizing that and triggering loops and samples with, songs and stems, then this is a good part of that setup. And you see people using it with the Allen and Heath mixers, you see people using it just by itself, and you also see people using it with some of the other Native Instruments modular pieces of equipment as well, all chained together. So it really is a good potential starting point for some DJs. It's a different approach to mixing as a beginner because you're really relying on sync, so you want to have some good understanding of ensuring that your songs are gridded correctly and understanding that part of DJing, because you're not nudging records in time like you would on traditional turntables or CDJs or controllers. But saying that, it's a much easier way to program a set and to program some elements and live parts of music together. So for that, I think it's a really interesting product. I think it's something that if you want to go that way as a DJ, then this could be a great starting point or addition to your current setup. Traktor, I'm glad to see that you're back in the game. I'm really excited to see if we get some more of the modular setups. We've got the Z1, like I mentioned, we've got the X1, and we're just waiting on the F1. Let's see if that's something that maybe comes in the future. If not, I'm happy that these two products are here, and I'd love to know in the comments below what your thoughts are. Let me know if you've got this product, if you've been playing with it the last year. Let others know your experience with it. It always helps others making purchasing decisions to check out the comments below and see actual people's thoughts and opinions on it who have actually got it in their hands. So thanks for watching. Any questions, drop them below, and I'll see you in another video very soon.